Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! This is such a beautiful time of year for Freya Skye to drop her latest single. It's called Silent Treatment. It was first released on December 2nd. It had thousands of views on YouTube when it was first released, and I can see why. It has everything to do with the powerful lyrics and how Freya Skye is represented through the lyrics of this song. It's the most powerful ballad that Freya Skye has ever released. It's really a different side of Freya Skye, unlike anything we've ever heard from her before, and I think that if more beautiful ballads are released by Freya Skye in the forthcoming future, I think she's going to be in that conversation about being the next Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande. That argument will forever be represented and presented by myself, because I really do believe that Freya Skye is going to be something special. She's obviously touched each and every one of our hearts for so many unbelievable ways, and I think that we've all felt as if we were a part of something special, and we really felt as if we were a part of Freya's life, because she was reintroducing herself to us, and she wanted us to know how she was feeling. And I just want to let you guys know that whatever you're going through, if you're going through something similar that Freya Skye may have been going through because of the inspiration she received for the release of this single, I want you to know everything is going to be okay, because whatever's going on because of your relationship or how a person may feel about you, how they may be ghosting you, it was never your fault. It just has everything to do with how a guy can never really find time in appreciating what a girl's true worth is and just how special she is. Because the one thing a guy has to realize is that a girl just wants to make everybody around her that she surrounds herself with happy. And why can't we just realize that? Why can't everybody just love a girl for who she is? And I think Freya Skye represents this so phenomenally in this single. I have never heard a girl be so passionate about the music that she releases. I remember years ago how Taylor Swift was so fond of by everybody. Everybody wanted to take a chance on Taylor Swift ever before they took a chance on anybody else. This was around the same time that Miley Cyrus was at the heights of her popularity. People like Ariana Grande and Victoria Justice were really coming into their own. I think music was at an all-time high, and it reached a point of popularity unlike anything we'd ever seen before. But I think that the same 3 or 4 celebrities were always being talked about and always being given the spotlight. I say this because people like Freya Skye and Kylie Cantrell have deserved the spotlight more than anybody else in the world right now for how they're representing themselves, how they're keeping this really cool image, and really keeping their calm with everything that's going on around them, because they are faced with so much pressure, having to live up to the certain criteria of a management label, how certain people feel about them. You know, you really have to put yourself in the same position. How would you feel if every night that you performed on the stage for the Worlds Collide tour or for a concert tour that you were a part of, and you had to go home every night and watch a YouTube video of somebody and how they feel about you, about a performance you may have given the night before or less than 24 hours ago? It must really hurt. And I think that the more that we go on YouTube and we upload videos about Freya Skye just to let her know how special she is and how important she's been to each and every one of our lives, because she's come off as such a huge inspiration, the more of a significant impact we're going to have on Freya's heart. Because when I see people like Freya Skye crying all the time because of how somebody feels about them in a YouTube video, that really creates a problem for me, and something has to be done about it. I had no idea how I was going to counteract all these issues that Freya Skye was faced with and the pressure that she was under. But I knew I was going to be able to make it through because of each and every one of you. I was going to be able to get through to each and every one of you and make you guys realize just how important you are to people like Freya Skye and Kylie Cantrell. And you know, we created something special together, because there are millions of fans of Freya Skye and Kylie Cantrell out there who are finding this YouTube channel every day, who are hitting the subscribe button, who are hitting the like button, showing their love and support for Freya Skye and Kylie Cantrell, which I can never seem to put into words how appreciative I am of it, because more people on YouTube know who Jonathan Clarke on YouTube is than ever before. There have been several reaction videos for the Silent Treatment single from Freya Skye dropped back on December 2nd, being released, where people have been actually mentioning my name in the videos rather than actually mentioning my name. It's very apparent that I've been on YouTube for a very long time, and I've been a part of everything that I've ever had the chance of being a part of, and I felt very privileged and very honored to be a part of everything that I've had the chance to talk about over the years on my show. I can remember a time when YouTube wasn't really as advanced as what it is now, and you couldn't go live. Your videos could only be 10 minutes long. And I was under a lot of pressure because in just 10 minutes I couldn't really say what I wanted to say or state how I felt about a certain topic that I was talking about on my radio program. I remember starting off my career as a radio show host out of my parents' basement. And that was extremely difficult to do. On nights when Mom would have bingo games and card games because they would get together, they had a little group of card game players. They would get together every night, and each house would host a card game each week. And it was really hard when, of course, somebody would achieve bingo or win the card game because you would hear bingo up in the living room and stuff. It was really hard to do. And my radio show was very poorly financed. But, every day after I get home from school, I was a loser in school. So nobody really cared about what my opinion was. So I thought the most effective way of letting everybody know what my opinion was would be to host a radio program out of my parents' basement. I just basically woke up one day and said, Mom, I got an idea. I'm going to host a radio show out of your basement. She looked at me. She said, that idea sounds really cool. And she was forever supportive of it. And I was giving you my opinion on things like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Eminem, the Backstreet Boys for forever, because I started talking about music back in 1999. My first radio program premiered on August 15th, 1999. And through every topic that I discussed, I wanted everybody to know how I felt about it. I eventually had a career in professional wrestling. I spun off of that into entertainment, and one thing led to another. And every opportunity that I've ever had, I just wanted to showcase people like Hilary Duff, Lindsay Lohan from years ago, the same way that I'm showcasing people like Clarke and Freya, Skye. Because the reality of life is, we still have a long way to go. And I know the age demographic of people who watch my videos varies over the years. I mean, there are people who watch these videos who are 7 years old. There are people who watch these videos who are 17 years old. There are people up as high as 25 years old who watch my videos even older. And I like to believe that some way or somehow, how I talk about Freya, Skye, and Clarke resonates with each and every one of you, because I'm sure that somebody who watches these videos feels like they're ghosted every single time they try to tell a person how they feel. And I want you guys to know that you're not alone, because there are more people than ever given credit for who experience this same form of disclusion all the time. But just because you experience some form of disclusion and feel ghosted all the time, that doesn't mean that you're not a wonderful person, because you are. And I think it has everything to do with how we each have an individual passion that we have yet to discover. And when we finally discover that passion that we have, the possibilities are really endless. And we feel that much closer to a dream than ever before. Because this all started for a dream for Clarke and Freya, Skye. They always wanted to be a part of something special, and I think Descendants of Zombies as franchises they grew up idolizing presented them with the chance to do that. Not only to perform in front of each and every one of you, but to have the chance to engage and meet with each and every one of you to make you guys feel inspired. Over the last several days since the single silent treatment from Freya, Skye dropped, there have been a lot of YouTube videos uploaded with reactions in them that you guys have been watching. And one thing that you will notice about several reaction videos that have been uploaded is my name was mentioned in those reaction videos without ever having officially mentioned my name, because of my rarity as a YouTuber and as a radio show host. For those of you who have been subscribed to this YouTube channel, you will know that I am very dedicated to uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies, or at least you should know that. And it has everything to do with each and every one of you. I can remember a time when this YouTube channel had just 5 subscribers, and because of my discussions about Kylie and Freya and Dove and Sophia, I became popular overnight. Years ago, I was just pretty much a reviewer of video games, TV shows, pro wrestling, which I established a name for myself on different pro wrestling websites like ProWrestling.com and WrestleScope.com and WrestleZone.com. I was a columnist for wrestling news websites. But I have never received such a huge response and an overwhelming amount of love and support for the videos that I've uploaded about Descendants of Zombies. And I have each and every one of you to thank for that. I can never seem to put into words how appreciative I am of every moment that we shared together, because I know moments like these are only ever meant to happen once for every lifetime. So because every moment that we experience are ever only meant to happen once for every lifetime, These are moments that should forever and always be celebrated. So when you guys went to the Worlds Collide Tour, you obviously felt as if you were a part of something special. But did you know for every venue that the Worlds Collide Tour sold out, they had a critic in the crowd? Somewhere amongst the thousands of fans who loved Kylie Control and Freya Skye so much, who came out with an undeniable amount of love and support, there was a critic just waiting for his or her opportunity to criticize the Worlds Collide Tour. And many of them went home and they were displeased with the quality of the merch price, the prices of the tickets, everything they could criticize, they chose to. But you know what outshined every amount of criticism the Worlds Collide Tour may have received? It had everything to do with each and every one of you and how passionate you felt about the moments that you celebrated with your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars. Because for that moment, at least for that one moment, you felt as if you were part of the franchises you had grown up around, that you had idolized, that you had felt a part of for forever, and these were moments that you wished could have lasted forever. And you know something? If I were the writer and producer behind the Worlds Collide Tour, which I wish I could have been, I would have made sure these moments would have lasted forever, because I really do believe that these stories that we see these characters represent all the time are far from over. And one should believe that these stories are far from over. I really hate how Disney and Nickelodeon always persuades us to believe that a dramatic conclusion is forthcoming for Descendants of Zombies. With the supernatural lore for the Zombies franchise and a greater appreciation to be had for supernatural characters and creatures, there are so many characters that we have seen see their introduction into the Zombies franchise, but so many characters we have yet to see have an introduction into the Zombies franchise. And that is something that I'm incredibly excited about. You have the potentiality of goblins, witches, trolls coming into the franchise. Even mermaids have been suggested. And I would go for mermaids being a part of the Zombies franchise, because we have yet to reveal what's inside of this vortex. And I'm the only guy on YouTube actually that's voluntarily offered to jump inside of this vortex to uncover its mystery, because I've loved the stories that have existed with all these supernatural characters over the years. I remember being a huge fan of the show Supernatural, two brothers that would investigate paranormal events, would investigate situations with monsters and goblins. It was really, really cool. But you know, if a show, I say this because if a show like Supernatural can go 20 years and be on air for 20 years with 20 seasons, 21 seasons, something like that, then so can Descendants of Zombies. Even if you had to bring in a new cast every 5 or 6 years, because obviously people like Kylie Contrell and Freya Skye are never going to be around for forever. But I think their legacies have everything to do with Descendants of Zombies, because even though they're never going to be around for forever and be performing in Descendants of Zombies, there's always an opportunity to present us with a new cast and a new storyline, because all you have to have is a creative mind, and you have to have dedication shown to these franchises. And I think the director's chair for Descendants of Zombies has always been a revolving door. There's always been a new director, a new writer, a new producer with a new incentive they want to showcase Descendants of Zombies for having been. I think we don't need 3 or 4 different directors always changing up the director's chair for Descendants of Zombies. What we need is a dedicated director, writer, and producer who has been there from the very beginning and sees it right through. And I've just wanted to be that guy for each and every one of you, because I guarantee you, if I was the writer and producer behind Descendants of Zombies, I would forever remain dedicated to Descendants of Zombies. I would forever remain dedicated to each and every one of you. I would hear your ideas out. I would hear them through. And I would make something special happen for each and every one of you if I didn't have the chance to make a cameo in the Descendants of Zombies franchises, because they have forever and always held a special place in my heart. The revolving director's chair for Descendants of Zombies has obviously been very apparent to me. And I think that because the director's chair has always been revolving for Descendants of Zombies, I think that people have wanted a dedicated writer and producer for a very long time to feel as if they're a part of something special, because obviously Descendants of Zombies will forever and always hold a special place in our hearts. And I think that there's a lot of uncertainty about the future for these franchises coming from the stars, because of course they're having to live to a certain criteria and have to exceed the expectations of everybody, which puts a lot of pressure on their shoulders. The one thing I would do is, the first thing I would do if I were the writer and producer of the Descendants of Zombies franchises would be to fire every member of the social media department, because having to have a post that you post of yourself in a photo approved by a social media department is really ridiculous. That takes away creative freedom for people like Freya Skye and Kylie Control. I've always believed in supporting creative freedom and instilling that on your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars to let them run away with ideas and creative freedom for their characters. Because if they had the idea to bring a character to life and they could run away with it, think about the possibilities. Think about if the chances Descendants actually existed for, say, Ruby Rose Turner to come back into this franchise and be reintroduced. Because I've always believed that her story is anything but over and completed. I think that, bringing her in for just one movie is just a brief moment for Ruby to have been a part of something special. Because Descendants of Zombies always held a special place in her heart, so why remove her out of the franchise? People have forever wanted to see Ruby return to this franchise since the news was first broken that she was parting ways with the franchise and pursuing other projects like Most Popular. I get that. But the thing is, I think there's still so much more of a story to be told for her. There is still so much of a story to be told for so many characters that kind of came in and out of the franchise before. And I think that all you have to have is a creative mind and do everything with an open heart and an open mind, because I think the most effective way of recording a video is by never knowing what you're going to say each time you hit record. Because if you have 3 or 4 pieces of paper with all these jot notes written down and critique every video that you upload, the thing is your video is far from unpredictable. But when you don't know what you're going to say, so too doesn't your audience, and that makes your video so much more unpredictable. Nobody ever knows what you're going to say. Nobody ever knows what to expect. And that makes every video that you upload about Descendants of Zombies and the franchises and the stars that you love so much more special, because one can only hope that Clarke and Freya and Skye are going to hear my voice. Because I really do believe there is a future that has everything to do with these stars. And I, for one, am incredibly excited to be a part of it, because one could choose to criticize Descendants of Zombies every single time they push record and turn on their camera and turn on their microphone and sit in front of an audience every night on YouTube. But the reason why they choose to criticize it is because they don't want to make sense of it, nor do they ever want to give it a chance. I think from the very first moment that Silent Treatment was released, everybody talked about how Freya Skye was feeling ghosted by somebody. Then they started questioning who hurt Freya Skye. The stupidest things that people were philosophizing about this song were absolutely ridiculous. I think this song was just written to let everybody know that regardless of the situation they may or may not have been going through, everything was going to be okay. And I think that Freya Skye just wanted you all to know how she was really feeling. I mean, the lyrics in this song were far more powerful than any other lyrics that Freya Skye had ever dropped for any single. And I read down through the lyrics. I'll be honest with each and every one of you. I read down through every lyric, and I felt as if I was a part of something special, because I thought of my own life and how many people had come into my life and ghosted me without ever offering me an explanation. That just happened to me a couple of months ago. I had a really good friend who I'd known for over 25 years. She was writing me, and then one day, just as fast as I could snap my fingers, she just cut off all communication, stopped talking to me without any explanation. Point being, this happens for everybody every single day, even though they don't give themselves credit enough for experiencing it. And because you experience it, that does not mean that you are alone. You have the support of your friends, and that doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of friends surrounding yourself with to make you feel supported. All you've ever needed are 3 or 4 really good friends, because the 3 or 4 really good friends that stick with you and help you make sense of everything going on around you are the most important people in the world. I can't even begin to tell you how many people have come into my life, ghosted me without ever offering me an explanation, and just unexplainably vanished. It just happened to me 6 months ago. But that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It just means that that person just obviously wanted more out of life. And what you have to do is you have to support them. If you truly love them, you'll support them in every decision that they make, because obviously God has better things planned for you. And I think that because God has better things planned for you, that is something to be really excited about. And I really appreciate how people, more often than ever given credit for, can relate to Freya Skye's music and just see how powerful that music is, because it really is powerful music. It's really an opportunity for Freya to kind of really reintroduce herself to us as an artist, as an actress, because she has a lot of great projects on the way. And I think that because she has a lot of great projects on the way, it's a fun time for everybody to become a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because we still have a long way to go. I, for one, have loved every opportunity I've had the chance to talk about Descendants of Zombies with each and every one of you. Did I ever think I'd have over 3,000 people having been subscribed to this YouTube channel? Most certainly not. But with 3,000 people subscribed to this YouTube channel, this obviously makes this YouTube channel the most popular Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel in the world. Because at least we created something special for everybody who may have ever been a fan of Descendants of Zombies. If you watched me from the very beginning, Thank you guys so much. My career has been very lengthy. I've been very fortunate in my career, I guess are the words I'm searching for, and I've had the honor, along with talking about Descendants of Zombies, of meeting so many wonderful people who have obviously drawn inspiration for Descendants of Zombies for all the right reasons, and I have each and every one of you to thank. So, if you want to keep this conversation going about Freya Skye for just a little bit longer, I have no problem doing it and creating videos about Freya Skye for every fan of Freya Skye, because I love her so much, just as much as each and every one of you. And I know what it's like to grow up being a fan of something, because years ago I was always a fan of whatever Disney would throw out there, and I always wanted to give a chance on shows like Darkwing Duck, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, Wizards of Waverly Place, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. That was a generation where it was really fun to grow up a fan of Disney Channel, and it's ever so much more fun to grow up a fan of Disney Channel now, because you have Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, the sequel, you have the reboot of Phineas and Ferb happening, you have Zombies, the reanimated series, just taking a look at Disney Channel's current program lineup. It's really cool to be a fan of Disney, and I have this to say to each and every one of you: there is nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants of Zombies. If you love it so much, you should never be afraid to let the world know how you feel about Descendants of Zombies. Never be afraid to let the world know how you feel about Descendants of Zombies, because we still have a long way to go, and it's a real magical time to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies. So go listen to Silent Treatment off FreyaSky.com. Download it off Spotify and iTunes. I promise you, you will not regret it. It's a very powerful song with powerful lyrics, over 48,000 likes. It still has a long way to go, but it doesn't mean that it can't get there with your love and support, because once you have the love and support of Descendants of Zombies fans, this universe on your side, it is unlike anything that you will ever experience. And I think more YouTubers could learn from the chance to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because this has been so much fun for me, because having you guys on my side means the world to me. Thank you so much for having watched this video. Thank you so much for having been a fan of Descendants of Zombies. It's been fun. I will upload one final video between now and sunset, which I hope you will join me for, where we'll talk all things Descendants of Zombies and Freya Skye related. So don't forget to smash my subscribe button and to ring my bell to stay up to date every single time I upload a video to this channel, because it's been my honor to create hundreds of videos inspired by Descendants of Zombies for you, the fans of this universe, who make it so special for me to record these videos. Stay calm and zombie on, everybody, into that foreseeable future, because we still have a long way to go.